My name is Isaac Jr. Olowolafe, President and CEO of Dreammaker Corporation, which is a real estate asset management firm.
How did you get started in this business?
So I started one part of the company, Dreammaker Realty. It's going on almost 12 years ago. When I started that company, it was through the guidance of my father, who was already in real estate for about 7 to 8 years prior to that. And the first idea around the company was really just an investment company for the family to buy properties with it. 2 to 3 years later, I decided to get my real estate license. This is all around the time when I was in my second year of University of Toronto, taking economics. So I was taking economics at U of T, started a company, Dreammaker Realty, and over the last 10 years, it's turned into several divisions under Dreammaker Corporation, from a brokerage firm, where we now have about 24 licensed agents, to the joint venture wealth management company, which is Dream Fund Holdings, to the property management company, Dreammaker Management, and then most recently, Dreammaker Developments, which is the company that now completes what we call the vertical integration.
Wow. You said you started doing this 12 years ago.
12 years ago.
You don't look like you're too old. So 12 years ago.
21, turning 22 was
wow.
when the company started. Yeah.
That's amazing, because I know a lot of us at 21, we ain't thinking about that. So that's good. So where would you say you got your inspiration from? Your father?
My inspiration came from several different individuals. Obviously the first individual will be my dad, my parents, the sacrifices that they made to move us to a better location. We moved from an area in Toronto to an area in Woodbridge, and they made the sacrifice at that time to move us there so that we could have a better environment for us to grow in. And through that environment, I was able to meet with different individuals that came from the real estate industry, construction industry. So that's definitely one of my first inspiration. And then another individual who at that time was my girlfriend and now is my wife, for going on almost 10 years that we've known each other, will be my wife now, Monique, and she was definitely an inspiration in the company getting started and in the way, the different divisions that the company has ended up putting out. So I'll say those are the two key inspirations.
What does success mean to you?
Success, I would say, means being able to do something of value, not only for yourself, but those around you. It's easy to make money in any walks of the world, whether you're selling X or you're selling Y, or you're producing this or you're producing that. But in my view, to be successful is to be able to not only provide for yourself, provide for your home, but able to provide for those that need it, right? So for us, the second we started to become more successful as a company, we went back to the University of Toronto and we gave them a gift. We made sure that we gave more to our church and to other organizations that need it, both from a monetary point of view, but also our time, because I value my time as well too. So I believe the more successful you are, the more you could give, and not only just in monetary point of view, but also your time through mentorship, through providing wisdom and knowledge and experience that you've been able to go through, so that individual doesn't have to take 12 years to accomplish what you took 12 years, right? So I think because I'm able to do all that, I say, God willing, our company has been successful, but there's more that we want to be able to do. So there's different levels of success. I think we have a certain level of success as an individual and as a company, but we believe we're only scratching the surface in terms of how successful we could be as a company.
Looking at you, you're so young, and I believe you're successful. How does that feel?
Well, it's good. It's like for me, I don't really pay attention to what individuals will call as success. For me, it's just being able to be blessed to wake up every morning, see my wife, see my 3 beautiful daughters. That alone is a success. Everything else that God has blessed me with is an additional bonus, right? So for me, is just having the ability to be humble with what I'm doing, knowing that it's not by my works. It's because at 32, I wouldn't say I did this. So there's no I in Dreammaker Corporation or all the difference of Dreammaker. Is just thank God for the opportunities that He's put in front of me and given me the wisdom and the strength and the drive to actually accomplish those different opportunities. But then the team that He's also put around me as well too. So I think that's what allows me to continue with the drive that I have.
Your dad used to be a real estate agent or a developer?
Yeah, so my dad started off as a real estate agent almost 17 years ago, and he's now a real estate broker. Both my dad and my mom has been investing in real estate from the first property they bought over 20 years ago. They still have the property renting out to properties that they bought and built in Nigeria and other properties that they bought here in Toronto, Ontario as well too. So watching that also definitely helped me in terms of the concept of investing, the concept of planting a seed through an investment model and letting that seed grow so that you can utilize that seed for other activities that you wouldn't normally have the funds for, right? So whether it's taking some of that investment and using it for post-graduation, using it to buy your first home, using it to fund a wedding, right? So these are different concepts that I was able to see right from them, and then sort of engrave that into my lifestyle.
You say because of course, you went to college, you got economics degree.
Yeah, degree.
And do you think that has helped you kind of change the dynamics of that corporation, what your dad had before, and you were able to change it to different things, and you were talking about the holdings, and you have this and you have that. Will you say the education you got you into that?
Well, I think the education was important. Education for me gave me the ability to have that different type of learning, a theoretical point of learning. But I believe that from my business, it's not just theory, it has to be through practice and experience. And the practice, the experience, and the relationships has helped me a lot more, but the education gave me the foundation. Now that I study different economies, so it's not just the Canadian economy, I'm studying the Asian economy, the US economy, the European economy, and seeing how they're all integrated together and how they could directly and indirectly affect the Canadian market. Those are fundamentals that I've learned while in economics classes that I may have not paid attention to while I was there 5-6 years ago, but now I'm utilizing it in my everyday business.
So tell me about the project that you're talking about during the presentation there.
So we were fortunate as an individual, as a company. I bought the land right across Yorkdale Mall. Yorkdale Mall is one of the largest luxury malls in North America, fourth largest right now. And by 2017 is proposed to be one of the largest grossing malls. And we're doing the first condominium across of Yorkdale Mall. It's a 9-story building, commercial on the bottom, and 4 townhouses, 84 units, condo units. This is one of 4 development sites that we now have on the go. So we're roughly about $200 million worth of developments on the go right now. And another prime area within the city, Richmond Hill, we're doing 176 townhouses. Another part of the city, we're doing 23 townhouses. Now we're negotiating for more developments. So really our focus has sort of changed from just buying and selling real estate to now controlling the land and utilizing our other companies to fully integrate into the land development for the investor coming in to just invest in a unit, the investor coming in to buy the unit, and then our property management company coming in to manage the unit for the investor that wants to keep the unit, right? So it's a fully integrated system that now that we have that system, as I mentioned, took almost about 10 years to sort of put together through experience more so than just reading. So now we're really able to drive and just start looking for more land to plug right into the system that's been created.
How can people benefit from what you're trying to do?
Well, individuals could benefit from several different ways. Education is a key component to our company. Financial literacy is something that is dear to me because without educating the individual on what real estate could do for yourself and your family, you wouldn't fully be able to take advantage of it. So there's individuals that could benefit from our company by buying their first home or selling their house. There's individuals and corporations that could benefit from our company in just doing a straight investment, joint venture model through Dream Fund Holdings. Then there's individuals that could benefit that wants to build their real estate portfolio. And then there's larger institutional investors that want to grow their capital and make a high yield return on their money by investing in our development projects. So because we're controlling those different aspects of the development channel, we have our skin in the game. So as an investor coming in, they know they're not just investing with a brokerage firm that's not tied to the results or has any vested interest in the results of the project. They know when they invest with Dreammaker that Dreammaker has a benefit and incentive to fulfill the investment, because for every $100,000 that you're invested, we have $1 million in that same project. So if we're going to give you a high yield return on your capital, it's tied directly to us making a high yield return on our $1 million. Making that return on the $1 million would only happen if you're making a return on your $100,000. Meaning if you're not making a return, we're not making a return. So because of that vested interest, a lot of investors locally and internationally feel safe when they invest with us because they know that we're experienced. We don't just sell, we actually invest. And we're investors ourselves, and our company is an investment company into different projects and investments. So when we're working with an investment group, we can take them through the different steps of how their capital is coming in today, is tied to a specific project in a prime location, and this is how we're going to exit them. And if they don't want to exit, well, we have a property management team to help manage their asset through tenant management.
That was going to be my next question, to kind of see how somebody like me living in the States or Nigeria or China, how can I invest and make sure my investment is secure and the returns.
So the one thing that's good about Canada and Ontario is the transparent industry when it comes to real estate. You invest, you get an agreement. Now what you need to do is verify whether the asset that your capital is tied to is truly worth X if I'm telling you you're getting access to it at Y. So you already know at the investment stage, right in the beginning, that there's already margins there. So now you're just going through the execution stage of 2 to 3 years to make a return on your investment. So for investors that are not local in Toronto, they just verify where the location is. So that's why, just like Yorkdale development project is right across a luxury mall. The next project is in an area where there's multi-million-dollar detached homes. The next project's in an area where townhouses sell for $700,000, and we're selling them at an average of $500,000. So because we're in these key areas, we're in locations where vacancy rates are less than 1%. We're in a location where the fundamentals are in place, where private sector is investing $1 billion into renovations of the mall. The public sector is invested into a hospital, into subway, into other transit. So there's true fundamentals around our investment that's in the middle. So as an investor coming in, it's no different than being in Africa, China, or other parts of the world. In all those other parts of the world, if you're investing in a location where there's multi-million-dollar homes and your price points are $500,000, then you're in a nice neighborhood. If you're investing in a location where the government is putting a new hospital then you know you're investing in a good location. If you're investing in an area where private sector are putting up office towers that they want to fill with new graduates, then you know you're investing in a place that's thriving. So these are the key locations, organic, fundamental locations that we focus on as well too.
Not everybody can afford this. Is that your target market, or are you doing something to help people that can't really afford $300,000 homes?
Well, the way our model is set up is Dream Fund Holdings, which is the joint venture company, focuses on more of the mid to higher end clientele base. Dreammaker Development, same thing, mid to higher end clientele base from an investment point of view. But because of our vertical integration, we could go into a high-end location and be able to provide access to units at well below the market price. Give an individual, a young family that wants to move in that area, to be able to get into that area at a very affordable price point. The deposit requirements will be less than a typical development because of our vertically integrated model. So yes, so through Dreammaker Realty is more for the masses, and then Dream Fund Holdings and Dreammaker Developments are for the mid to higher end investors.
You trying to give up to the community, you're trying to go out there, train kids and trying to educate them about finances and investment. I mean, that's just inspiring, because not a lot of people do that these days. I mean, people just don't know how to invest. And why did you see that need, and why do you think you have to give back? And what really prompted that?
Because I don't see myself any special other than being a child of God, right? And we're all children of God. So whether you make money or you don't make money is all through the exposure that you get, all through the favor that's given to you. And God has blessed me and blessed my family, made me healthy, given me wisdom, given me direction, put me on a path a lot earlier than I thought I would be. So it will be a shame if I take that lessons and only spend it on cars, right, or on watches and toys and other stuff, and not using that blessing and try to be a blessing to others, right? So that's why for me, and even right from early, the aspect of paying tithes every Sunday, right? So whether I was making $12 an hour or $100,000, it doesn't matter. The fact is that giving was something that was engraved in me right from a little boy. And that's the same thing I tell my daughters, my 2-year-old, my 5-year-old, when they're going to get ready for church, they know to get their tithes so that they could pay it as well too. Because once you engrave the aspect of giving, then you're not chasing money anymore. You're just chasing the God-given gift and dream that has been implanted in you, and through that everything else will come. And then being able to now lend that is like pay it forward, you know, be able to lend what has been given to you onto somebody else, inspire somebody else so that they could inspire somebody else. And when you bring that all back to the black community or the African community, you could go to many locations within North America and you'll see that as a community we're very scattered, right? Because there's not enough organizations and companies collaborating together to see how they can help the communities when it comes to wealth creation, when it comes to planting a seed. We have enough athletes that are in all these major sports teams that there should be more institutions in each of the towns that they play in, right? If there's 30 people in a team and half of them are from the black community, but in that location that they are playing in or that city they're playing in, there isn't institutions, infrastructure in place for that community, then they're not collaborating and using their funds in a way that will help lay a foundation. When you look at other communities, it's not about how much money is being made, it's about what you're able to do with that capital once you make it. You know, they always say within other communities, the dollar circulates 8 to 9 times before it leaves the community. But whereas in the black community, it could be 1 or 2 times and then it's gone out of the community. If we were to pass it around 3, 4, 5 times into other different businesses, employment will be created, and through employment, more investments will be created, and more investments will lead to more infrastructure, and more infrastructure will lead to a sound community, right? That our children are able to leave the house and play on the streets safely. You're from Detroit. We see what's happening in the U.S. with all the violence that's happening in the U.S. It's not that those individuals have less desire to succeed than other individuals. It's the opportunities that's not given to them. But we can't just keep blaming the politics and saying they haven't provided. We need to see how we have provided, not only for ourselves, but for our children, and then our children's children.
Wow. So are you looking at opportunities outside of Canada? Are you investing in Africa, US, or just...
Well, right now, like for us, we always look at things from a fundamental point of view. And I can't talk about fundamentals with my eyes closed if I don't know the location, right? So I know Toronto, I know the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, within Ontario. So for the time being, that will be our main focus until I have the time to go out to another area and fully understand it. Because if we're working with investors, we need to fully understand what we're investing their capital into.
Absolutely, yeah. That makes sense. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself obviously as still a proud father and a proud husband. I definitely see our company advancing to higher levels, changing more thousands of people locally and internationally when it comes to the investment model. I see us getting ready for potentially rolling out a public trading company out of the different divisions. And who knows, I probably see myself on the political side as well too, and seeing what else I could do, what else change I can make on the social political side. Once I know that it's fully, I've done enough on the business side. So there's, God willing, I'm still young and in good health. There's different activities that I want to still be able to get into, where we're launching another company called Dreammaker Ventures, where we're going to be investing into different small business ideas that are connected, that we've analyzed and feel it could fit our company in one way or the other. So there's different areas that we're looking at.
When dealing with setback, how do you handle that?
You know what, I always say that because I leave everything in God's hands, that nothing can put me down too long not to get up and keep on moving. Like I always believe if something didn't go as planned, in my plan, it was part of God's plan. And eventually it'll turn around to favor me in the long run. And I've seen that happen when I launched this development, you know, being a 29-year-old, coming from a community that you can't point to many developers from that community. It was tough. And it was very easy for me to pack up and say, let me just focus on my brokerage firm, which is very successful. There's no need for this stress. But I realized that it wasn't a coincidence that I was able to buy this land across a major mall like this that was available to everyone. It so happened to fall on a 29-year-old that's never developed before, has never done construction before. And so when it's only based on your relationship with God, you know when opportunities are put on your plate that may seem too big, but you know it was put on your plate because God is positioning you to be able to take take action on it. So for me, as long as my children and my wife are healthy, my parents or my family is healthy, anything else doesn't really sway me. Obviously, I'm a very aggressive business owner, and I always want to win as well too. But I understand that when you're looking long term and you're trying to create wealth, winning is not a daily thing. It's over a long period of time. And for me, winning over a long period of time is being able to lay a foundation for my children that when they're 10, 15, 20 years old, they don't have to work as hard, and they could do whatever they want. They could do the post-graduation. If they want to go to med school, they could go without thinking about any financial obligations. So that's part of winning, right? So when you have that type of mindset, little roadblocks along the way doesn't slow you down.
What do you do the very first hour you wake up in the morning?
The very first hour, after thanking God for another night, is I try to see my wife and my daughters. They get ready for school, and then I'm just checking my emails. Many emails that are coming in and out, and then the day starts. I try to watch the business channel to see what's happening in the market, to get an idea of what's happening in the market. Even though I'm not in the equities market, I study it just to get an understanding of how the economy is working, because obviously that has a direct and indirect
Impact on the business.
impact on the real estate business.
So you don't invest in like bonds and all the stocks and all that?
Strictly real estate.
Oh, perfect. Wow, your story is just